Well, Eddie, the Champions League is back. Are you pleased with how things have gone so far?
Yeah, really pleased. I think 2 games in and we'd have certainly taken our position now. But it changes very quickly, and we know this game's a pivotal one at home. And it's going to go a long way, I think, to deciding the dynamic of the group. So this is an important match.
Are you actually quite pleased that you've got that PSG game out the way now and it didn't overwhelm your players? They were quite controlled and they got the job done. Is that now not a concern that you have moving forward?
That's a difficult one because I don't want to seem, relaxed. I'm not going into any game. It's quite an intense period, and I think you have loads of different challenges. So the challenge we had going into the PSG game was it was built up, and the game was elevated to a stage that, were the players going to really commit and be able to deal with that, and they did. And we were magnificent on the night. But now we have that challenge again, and now the challenge is different, but we've got to raise ourselves and find that level again against a very difficult opponent. So we take nothing for granted. We know how difficult the game can be.
Is it harder to back it up than to set the standard?
I think so. I think consistency, whatever competition you're in, is probably the hardest thing to achieve. And that's consistency of performance, consistency of results. So, yeah, I think that's a different challenge, as I say, to the one we faced. But hopefully the players have shown in the recent run that we've been on that we have been consistent, but we just have to do it again.
I was talking to Sean Longstaff just then, and he's still beaming, and they just about the PSG experience, the game, everything that happened. Do you sense that feeling again going into the Dortmund game from the players about this competition?
Yeah, I sense an excitement, and I think whenever we play these games, that's what we want. We want that feeling of this is potentially going to be a great night for us, and I'd much rather that emotion than the opposite. But then you still have to do the same things. You still have to get the fundamentals of the performance right. You still have to deliver the game plan correctly. And we still have to really focus on how we're going to play well rather than sort of the end product.
For you, managerial career-wise, was the PSG game probably up there as one of the best nights you've had?
Yeah, I think reflecting back on it probably was. Just the prestige of the competition, the opponent that we faced, the way the team played. But I think I've learnt very quickly in management that, yes, that's a good moment, but now you want another good moment and you're forever chasing that feeling again. So very quickly after that game, there was no sort of period where you're able to enjoy it because you're focusing on the next match.
I think I read somewhere that you were surprised when you actually looked at the PSG team sheet when you got it and they'd gone with that 4-pronged attack. It wasn't what you were anticipating. I'm quite intrigued to know, in that hour that you get, hour and 15, however long you have between you see the team and kick-off, were you tempted to change anything because you've picked a team anticipating what they might do and then do something different, or do you just stick to your game plan and believe fully in the plan that you have?
Probably a mixture of the two things. You definitely don't change everything that you prepared. I do believe in having to sort of nail your colours to the mast in terms of how you think the opponent's going to play, because we have to prepare our team the best we can, but that can always change. Now, what we try to do is produce a model that can tolerate change, that if a team does something differently, we have a way to react to that. So that's part of our game model. But it does leave that period of time before kick-off where we may work harder than we would do if it's the team that we probably expected or the system we expected. And
do you think for your squad that has actually given them perhaps a slightly new dimension in facing European teams? So Dortmund are going to come up, you think you know what they're going to do, but there's always that element now.
Yeah, I think that's the Premier League though as well. I think there's very few teams in the Premier League that you can go, right, they're definitely going to do this. All the top teams have an ability to change, whether we're playing Manchester City, Liverpool, Arsenal. You know there's the elite managers, the best managers in the world, and you know that they're going to potentially try and give you a problem. So I don't think it's anything new for us. It's just, I think the PSG was such a high-profile game that maybe it was highlighted more. What
do you make of Dortmund?
Yeah, good team. Came very close to winning the Bundesliga last year. I mean, so close. And that's shows the standard that they're at. They've started this season well. You know, they're right up there again. Very, very dangerous team. They've got some really good technical players, athletic. Of course, their home form is very strong. Their home ground is very strong for them. but they travel well too. So I think from our perspective, we know that this, when we had the group, we knew that all the games were difficult, and this is just another difficult game.
Do you think there's an extra edge to it for them because they're bottom of the group with 1 point, which perhaps isn't a true reflection of the form that they're in and the moment of time that they're in, so they want to kickstart this competition quickly?
Yeah, I think it shows the strength of the group. So when you go from, so they played PSG away, as tough a game as you get in the Premier League, then they go to AC Milan at home, and that was a good result, really, a draw against AC Milan. So it just goes to show the strength of the group. And I think, yeah, they'll be keen to win the game, we're keen to win the game. So I think it's set up to be a great game.
And for you, if you can get the job done tomorrow night, you'll be top of the group, 3 games down, having experience of all the sides that you've got to play against. Would you feel like it was in your control, and is that the position you'd be comfortable in?
Well, I don't think we're looking too far ahead. I think we're just looking, yes, we want to win the game. Of course we do. It's our next match. We're at home. We'll assess it afterwards. But, yeah, our determination is to try and win, to try and keep our momentum, to try and learn from every game. But we know this is going to be a tough one.
And we know the atmosphere was incredible last time. Dortmund fans, Newcastle United fans, all in there tomorrow night. Does it go up again?
Well, yeah, I think the 2 sets of supporters that are totally unique. The Dortmund supporters are world known, but I think the Newcastle ones are as well. So I think when you get that combination, regardless of which stadium it's at, I think it's going to be a battle between the supporters. And our supporters, home and away, for me, have been absolutely incredible. They go a long way. You'll have to go a long way to try and beat the PSG atmosphere, but hopefully we can.
And do you think your squad have moved past the point of being like, wow, we're in the Champions League, and now you're like, okay, we're in the Champions League, this is where we belong, this is what we do?
I probably still want a bit of that, to be honest, but only a bit. I think you still want that excitement, you still want that feeling of this is a unique thing, this is a special thing, because I think that helps your performance. Too much of it and it can maybe work the other way, so hopefully we can keep a bit.
Lovely. Eddie, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.